Morning.
Morning.
Weather today, it's a mad one again this morning. I was awakened a few times last night by the hailstone. It was crazy last night, yeah. So it's quite cold again. It's about 4 or 5 degrees now in most places. And we're going to see further heavy showers in parts. The good news is a mix of some sunny spells like yesterday again later on today. And we're going to see highs of about 6 or 7 degrees. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Era.
I was out for dinner last night, so I'm a little bit delicate this morning.
The word's hungover, Elaine. You can say hungover.
Am I allowed to say it in the video? I can't say it on air. Yeah, I'm hungover. Who am I kidding? Yeah. Pee in the McKeown. I'm a little bit lightheaded. Yeah, no. I'm still going to do the show, though. It's probably anything could happen today, I'd say. Okay. I've been looking at some of the trends over the past few hours in Ireland. Valentine's Day is trending, so did you get anything for Valentine's Day?
Did you have a nice day? I made a lovely shepherd's pie yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah.
I love
I have the
shepherd's pie.
leftovers for later on, yeah.
Did you make it with beef or lamb?
I made it with beef,
Do you know,
which I know technically makes it cottage pie. I get
no,
that.
I know, but we always called it shepherd's pie growing up in my house, and it was always beef as well.
Yeah.
It's a real Irish thing, is it?
Yeah, because I remember telling somebody, I made a shepherd's pie from scratch. They're like,
Yeah.
yeah, cool. Did you get lamb mince? And I was like, no, I use beef. They're like, no, that's a cottage pie.
pie. But like
Whatever.
we'd say it at home as well. We'd say we're having shepherd's pie, and it's beef.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Slight sidetracked, but I did make it.
There's going to be a lot of that today.
Yeah.
Valentine's Day is trending anyway. We'd love to know if you got anything for Valentine's Day. If you did anything nice for Valentine's Day, did you surprise somebody? Did you get surprised? Ash Wednesday and Lent is also trending, which we didn't really get to talk about much on the show yesterday. But we'd love to know what you're doing for Lent, if you're doing anything, taking something on or giving something up. Liverpool and Porto trending because Liverpool hammered Porto 5-0 away from home. It finished up in the Champions League last night, and fantastic result for them.
Yeah, barring a miracle, that's Liverpool into the next round. There's no way
Brilliant.
Porto will beat them at Anfield 5-0, so it's not going to happen.
So that's fantastic. And some awful news we're all waking up to this morning, coming to us from the United States. Florida is trending, and that's because at least 17 people are now said to be dead after another high school shooting in the US. A former pupil, they believe, opened fire in the school. And here we go again. Yeah. Same old story, and nothing will be done again about gun control in the US, I would imagine. They'll talk about it and nothing will change, and it's absolutely horrendous.
Yeah, all the gun nuts now will be out again today saying, it wasn't our fault and this, that and the other and blah, 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 blah. Whereas at the end of the day, the guy was able to walk into a shop, buy a gun, and then he killed people. It's ridiculous. The Examiner's front page this morning says rural pubs survival fears is on the front page there. Conflict as 1 in 5 TDs are landlords. That's also on the front page. Oh. And half of IDA visits last year were to Dublin, which people are giving out about mad in the papers this morning. The Times Ireland edition has a picture of the South African president on the front page as continuing pressure comes on him to resign. Ready meals in Syria is linked with a rise in cancer is their main headline there. And Stormont power sharing talks collapse over the Irish Language Act. We knew that anyway. And the Irish Times actually has the story this morning from Florida that Elaine just mentioned, at least 17 dead after high school shooting. Sinn Féin accuses DUP of collapsing deal to restore assembly. And the Mirror this morning also talks about that very tragic story of the 3-year-old girl who died in Dublin. The mother faces further charges in connection with the death of the 3-year-old, and that's on the front page of the Mirror as well this morning. And the sports sections then are filled with stories of last night's Champions League action with PSG and Real Madrid. Madrid won that, and of course, as Elaine said, Liverpool hammering Porto as well. So
Salah.
Mane scored. Mane got a hat trick.
Oh, did
he got a hat trick last night. Yeah. So you were out last night. Were restaurants as busy as people were expecting?
Oh no,
them?
I was at a house party.
Oh, even better again, yeah. Because I've heard stories. I actually don't ever remember being out for dinner on Valentine's night for that exact reason that, first of all, you could ring up and you won't get a table. And then you hear the stories of you could go to a perfectly good restaurant who 99% of the time give you a lovely meal. Yeah. Whereas on Valentine's night, you're stuck into a corner and you mightn't necessarily get the nicest dinner. But that's just because they're so up the walls with people trying to book.
I don't think I've ever really gone out on Valentine's night either for dinner. No. It's usually something I do at home.
Yeah.
Right, music-wise today, we've got Gavin James on the show today. We might play an oldie from R.E.M., I think. We've got JP Cooper and brand new James Bay. Have you heard his new song?
Yeah, and he's coming to the Marquee as well in Cork, so that'll be a great gig this year, yeah.
And it's a really cool song. We're going to play that on the show this morning. And when you go to the cinema, do you bring your own snacks with you?
Yeah, apparently. Well, we'll cover this on the show, but I was always under the impression that if you bring your own snacks in your cot, they'll essentially take it off you and say, no, you can't bring that in.
Yeah,
but apparently that's not the case.
It's not the case, and we're going to talk about it on the show this morning that you can actually bring your own snacks in. If you work in a cinema, you might tell us what the rule is in your cinema. Do you do it?
I have done in the past. Yeah,
I have done it too. Yeah.
I've gone to I've gone to the shop on the way to the cinema and I bought stuff there because the cinema prices, to be fair, and if you work in a cinema, you know this. This is not new news. The prices are fairly expensive, for an old thing of minstrels or whatever.
It's very, like the sweets and all. The bags of sweets are very expensive. I have done it, particularly if you're going with a couple of kids. I'd have the old juice in the bag or whatever. And not always. The kiddie trays are kind of reasonable enough. They're about $5, I think. We did get popcorn, sweets and a drink for that, so it's not too bad. Okay. But I've definitely done it. Yeah, I'm holding my hands up.
I have to admit something now.
Oh.
I have snuck a burger into the cinema.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I've gone to the chipper, and on the way in, we would have pre-purchased the tickets. No queue, so we would have gone to the chipper and then gone straight into our seats and had a burger and chips in the seat.
I have something to admit as well while we're sharing. And again, it's not something I'll talk about on the show.
Okay.
So it's just for you guys. I went to see 50 Shades, the first one, the new one.
That was where it's like, whoa.
No. What was it for 50 Shades of Grey? It was just the first one, was it?
Yeah.
When was that out? 2 years ago?
Yeah, it would have been, 2 Valentines ago.
And I went for dinner and, had a good dinner, good crack. And we brought wine in takeaway cups, like coffee cups with the lids on them, into 50 Shades. So I brought alcohol into the cinema.
I have to apologise for my colleague. That is absolutely disgraceful.
The film was still crap.
Maybe you needed those coffee cups filled with wine to survive the film.
It was still crap. I was sitting in the cinema going, I'd hate to be watching this film sober. Pity you guys.
But funnily enough, you say that actually. Isn't there cinemas in Dublin where you can get a glass of Prosecco or whatever and go in and watch the film? They exist, don't they?
And that's big on the continent as well, where they all kind of sit around and have a beer at the cinema or a glass of wine.
Right, okay. Well, the next time Elaine Kinsella is at the cinema, if you work in any of the cinemas in Kerry, make sure she gets frisked before she goes in. She might like that, huh? No, on a serious note, don't bring alcohol to the cinema.
Okay, we better go. It's 2 minutes to 7. We're live from 7 here on Radio Kerry. And if you want to get a request on the show, you can leave it here. Chat to us on Facebook right across the day, or you can text or WhatsApp us now. We're on 083 300 3300.
Morning.